If you're thinking about running a mobile golf simulator company, then you're going to want to watch this because tearing it down may be harder than you think. And so in the next couple minutes, I'm going to show you a step-by-step guide on how to do it. So just imagine you just finished up an event and there's still about 4 or 5 lingering party members kind of hanging out, watching, because they're curious about how you're going to take this big monstrosity down yourself. You want to look like you know what you're doing. You don't just want to jump on this thing like it's a jumpy house trying to deflate all the air. There's a strategy involved, and that's what we're going to get into right now. So of course, the first thing you're going to do is push that little button on the side and let some of the air out naturally. As the structure starts to deflate, about 5 or 10 seconds in, it deflates pretty quick. You're going to want to guide the structure down in a structured way. So what that means is pinching the 2 sides about halfway up the height of it. So then you're just going to let the bay deflate about 90% of the way on its own. So this is when you're going to want to start collecting all the devices and technology and some of the cords and start packing that stuff away. Once the bay is mostly down, you're going to want to start applying some weight to the tubing to push out as much air as you can forcefully. So then you're going to get another 5% of the air out, and you're going to notice that there are air bubbles. And that's actually air trapped in the side panels. It's not air that you inflated the bay with. It's actually air that got trapped as the bay came down and collapsed. You're gonna need to manually push that air out. And if you look for a couple of small holes, usually a manufacturer will put a couple punctures in the side panels. Don't freak out, those are there by design. Find those, flap them up a little bit, and the air should rush out pretty quickly. So you need to get all that air out before you start folding it up. And then once the bay is about 95% deflated, you have a secret tool. You're going to use the pump to deflate the rest. So the next step is to switch the pump to suck rather than blow. And you do that by unhooking the hose and moving it to the other side, basically reversing the process. Connect it to your bay, turn it on. It should suck the rest of the air out. And you're gonna know when the bay is ready to start folding when it starts to look like a vacuum sealed bag. Just be careful with this part. Don't walk away as it's sucking the air out, because you don't wanna stress the pump out too much. A quick tip is that sometimes when you pull the pump off, sometimes it will suck air in, and you don't want to let that happen. So just be there by the pump. You might have to push that button really quick and stop the seal. Okay, so now that you've got it completely flattened, you're going to want to start folding in from the sides and fold them about 25% in so that those 2 corners meet in the middle. Then now you're going to have 2 pieces folded over, a crease in the middle and a flat piece. You're going to fold those together just like that. And then you're gonna put it on the side like that. And then you're gonna take one of those long pieces and fold that in like that. And so you're basically halving it 2 times in a row. One time the width way and one time the long way. Then you're gonna take that folded piece and you're gonna put it directly in the middle of your cross bag. Doesn't matter which 2 flaps that you pick on the cross bag to do first, but you're essentially gonna pull the cross bag flaps up and pull those D-rings really tight. When you're doing the first 2 flaps, try to make sure that one flap is clearly below the other. You really want your bay protected as much as possible. You don't want any of your bay showing. This cross bag is there for protection. And you're gonna do the same thing with the other 2 sides. Same thing, make sure it's very clear. One part of the cross bag should be very clearly under the other. And so when you're done, you should be able to see none of your bay exposed at all. It should be all protected by the cross bag. And so once you've done this a few times, you get a lot better, but this video is definitely going to help at least get the process down, and then just practice a couple times, inflate it and deflate it just a few times on your own before you do an event, and you won't look like a dum-dum in front of people not knowing what you're doing. All right, that's it for today, guys. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.